everybody, we're live. Unfortunately, it's not we, it's me, because the rednecks have an adversity to committing to a schedule, so they're still outside dicking off. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great evening, and he's yelling about something. Anyway.
Adversity?
I'm trying to keep this from...
animals.
No, you were standing outside.
No, we were taking care of animals.
Yeah, no.
That's probably the whole taking care of animal process.
I think maybe they just don't like doing the live streams. I don't know. So it's probably because I told them the topic for this one in advance. So the topic for this... Oh, good. One of them doesn't remember. Keys. There's keys in his pocket, and they're sticking out and hitting me. So, can everybody hear us okay? Can you hear us?
Is anybody on?
Yeah, there's 5 people watching.
Only 5? I don't.
Yeah.
We're not that popular anymore.
It just takes a little time for people to log in. This is the way live streams work. Now we're down to 4. Probably because I called him a jerk or something.
No, he showed up.
I accused him of dicking around.
No. He showed up and we dropped the person.
Ah.
Right there's all the
2
explanation
people
you need for it.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so today we're talking about tearing down a wall because we tore down a wall. You guys want to see? Do you want to see the wall we tore down? Well, you can't see it because it's gone. But here we go. I'm going to try to do this without collapsing the stand, which really wants to collapse badly. Look! You can see all the way into my kitchen. Hopefully you could see. I couldn't see what you could see, though. So as we were tearing down that wall, there was a lot of concern in the network about what was going to happen to my thermostat collection. And, I realized that it wasn't enough to just tear down a physical wall. Sometimes we have mental walls we need to tear down. So, Nighthawk, what are some mental walls you need to tear down?
God, why do you have to start with me?
Because you're special.
Because I warned you and I figured you remembered I was going to ask you that question.
I know I'm special. My parents told me I was special.
So sometimes we don't get things done or we don't do things successfully because there's a mental barrier right here. Do you remember the one I had this week I had to tear down?
No. Was I supposed to?
Yeah, you totally called me on it. You're like, oh, there's one of your walls gone.
I'm drawing a blank.
That's okay. You should tell us which wall you need to address. What stands in your way that you think is a wall that maybe if you perceive it differently isn't? Don't worry. Here's one of them. Does that make you feel... I'll just put it right here. There you go. Does that make you feel better? Anyway, your dad's on.
Oh, good.
Now you got to tell your dad which mental wall you're going to take down. I can tell you when he needs to work on.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Nighthawk doesn't like getting up early and getting going, correct?
As long as the morning starts bright and early at the crack of noon, I'm fine.
Okay, crack of noon.
Crack of noon.
So then last week, things happened. He got behind on a project. Somebody was coming to see what his progress was. What time did you get up and get started? 6:30?
Yeah, I think I was down there about 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30, and by like noon or 1, he's in here getting a coffee like, I got so much done today and it's only 1 o'clock. So, but then if you say like, hey, maybe you should start early more than once a year, he's like, ugh.
I like my sleep.
But I feel like it's a perception of the time, not the actual time. What do you think?
Sort of.
You think it's early, but it's not really like, you know what I mean? You think you don't like early mornings, but then when you do it, you actually liked it. You just didn't like it for the instant from your bed to the, oh my gosh, it's cold outside, right?
No, that didn't even bother me because it wasn't that cold outside.
Oh, okay.
It was only probably in, high 40s?
Well, what was the thing that makes it so you don't want to get up early? You feel sleepy?
Much rather stay up late than get up early.
Okay.
Much more of a night owl than the early morning riser, whatever that's called.
Early bird.
That's it, early bird.
But don't you want the worm?
Only if it's at the bottom of a bottle of tequila.
That was a good one. Okay. Tactical.
Oh, I don't get an answer.
Oh, you have your answer? I was just giving you more time to think because you're a
I
very thoughtful person.
did actually come up with one.
Okay, go ahead.
Especially on bigger things,
Mm-hmm.
I have a tendency to focus it as like the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I've figured out that if I just go and blow that wall up and take it in smaller chunks, it's much more manageable, and I feel like I can get motivated and I accomplish it more. One of the things I've been working on off and on for the last month and a half ish, I've been cleaning and reorganizing the house. When I thought of it as a big thing, well, that's too big of a project. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I broke it down, okay, so today I'm just going to focus on getting all the dishes out of the sink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to focus on cleaning the counter and going through the stuff on the cabinets the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the stuff I have sitting randomly on the floor. And then did that half hour, 45 minutes a day for about a week. Kitchen was done.
Yeah.
And then I moved on into the bedroom. And
So is the wall that you tore down the fear of starting a huge project? And the way you tore it down was to break it up to little pieces?
yeah, that's probably good. Yeah, that's probably about right.
Mm-hmm.
I find I can digest the smaller chunks of it a lot easier than looking at it as a big picture.
Hi, Jer. Yep. So big picture is important to keep in mind, but if you let that keep you from starting, then you never finish.
Correct.
Speaking of finish, what walls do you need to tear down?
I finished several things today.
What did you finish today? Tell them.
Finally got the kitchen sink done at base camp. That was like every time I put one piece on, I needed to go to the store for another piece. But I finally got to wash my cup in the sink.
In my sink. No, in my sink.
Well, technically, it's not my sink.
Well, it is your sink right now.
For now, it's
In
my
your sink, you got to wash your cup in your sink.
But
It's the little things.
made progress on the goat fence today too, or the
Yeah.
gate to
Can you
the
turn
goat
that light
fence.
off? Oh, I was hoping that would make lighting better. It did not. We'll get better lighting for next
A little
time.
bit better later.
No, it is a little bit better.
No, leave it off. Leave it off.
Leave it off.
Don't touch it.
Leave it off.
Don't touch
Leave
it.
it off. Dude, I'm going to tickle you. I'm going to touch you. Yeah, that worked. Just the threat of being touched works every time. Okay, so your walls.
Touch, touch, touch.
I didn't do that.
I do realize I have a knife I can stab you with.
I'll probably pay for that later, but it was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully.
We'll see what happens. He's going to tell him to do something he doesn't want to do, and then they're going to do this thing like that. Anyway, walls. What wall do you have that you've either blown through in the last couple of weeks or you feel like you need to take it on?
Getting control of my stuff as opposed to other people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect me to elaborate on
Yes.
that? This is the problem that we're just dealing with. I go out of the goodness of my heart to feed the pig and to put the goat away and give the goat a scoop of food, and I get chastised.
Chastised. Not castrated. That's a different
Chastised.
YouTube channel.
Chastised for not being in here on time.
Oh, you were standing outside smoking. You were not feeding animals. I could see you through the window.
Nope. He was feeding. He was
But
feeding
you
the
know
pig.
I'm going to do that before we start.
No, No, he was feeling the pig.
I'm a time Nazi. I like to start on time.
I put the
You
ducks
did start
away.
on time.
You were early.
Well, you have to
Yeah.
start it just a skosh early so that people can log in. Okay, guys, by the way,
No.
you can interact with us and ask us questions. We're not, I mean, we can go on like this all night. We kind of do every night, so we're used to it. But, in case you have questions or comments about walls or about anything else, do it. Okay, so the wall I busted through, because like this wall in my living room came out Thursday and was finished on Friday.
So
And-
I can't talk tonight.
Well, whatever. And it opened up the living room to the kitchen, which is one thing. But I can't believe I waited 14 years to do that.
Cool.
It was not an unbrutal wiring situation, but I can't believe I waited 14 years. And then I was like, sometimes we need to think about priority, though. And there were other priorities. And then I got to thinking about how I was prioritizing my own time not very well. And I ripped the Band-Aid off. I kind of like Sunday, I was going to pre-record podcasts again to give myself like full days of work that weren't podcast work. And I was like, nope, I'm going to do my podcast normally, but I'm going to build my schedule differently. And so I built the schedule differently. And like today I knocked it out of the park. Like I got control. I use my 3 things, but what has been happening is I've been doing 1 or 2 of my 3 things, not all 3 of them. Well, then I shouldn't write it down, right? So it's been kind of a cluster on the schedule. And today I built in a walk into my whole schedule. It's like, this is when you're walking. Hey, Nicole, what?
Walls, huh? Will we take this wall down?
No,
The one behind us?
no.
Why not?
Because that's my bedroom and I like privacy.
What's another wall we could take down?
No.
Let's not on the whole taking the wall stuff.
No, but if we build onto the house, we can take the wall out between that bedroom and my office and make a really big bedroom with an ensuite bathroom. Or, as we were talking, the exterior wall, which is only like 12 inches of stone and cinder block, and then close that all in and add an ensuite bathroom out where the outdoor shower is.
The amount of sand that would have to be removed for that.
I can make any wall suggestion unpleasant, so that is the way it goes. News that doesn't suck is here. Hi. Homestead Glamour. Hello. Miles, welcome.
That will give me an excuse to get a demo saw, though. And then I can take down any wall. Then I'll have the ability to take down any wall in this house.
True.
The only trouble with that wall is it is load bearing, so we have to put a little bit of thought into it before we just bust through the wall.
Cut first, think later.
Yeah.
It's not my house. I wouldn't even see it from my house.
For that.
What about the finish thing?
So many things to finish.
Finish what?
He likes to start.
I wanted to finish something else today. I didn't get a
Hey, you
chance to.
finished something today. That's good.
Still with the typing.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, put your phones on mute so we don't have people queue up and say bad words on YouTube. Hello. Anyway, that's the Zello people who should totally be here watching us and asking us questions, but no, that's just not the way it is. So, yeah. Oh, the wiring was much worse than that. Yeah. You and Nighthawk spent like 6 hours tracking that down, right? But now there's not a wall there. The best part, Ken, was when I went to use the plug under my chair in the middle of the floor that you put in. No power. There was no power. As it turns out, you have to turn the breaker back onto the circuit for there to be power to the plug. But it was like, for a minute, I was like, no, we're not going to have to take this all back out. But we figured it out. It was pretty funny.
Somebody got a ration of grief for not testing before they put the floor back in.
It was tested, though.
Apparently
Funny was
not.
not the word I was using.
We were also over the wiring by that time. I don't know why that breaker got turned back off, but it got turned back off. Wasn't a big deal. Now, it was labeled. I knew which breaker it was. It was awesome. Also, guys, As a result of this wall coming out, 5 or 6 of my breakers are now labeled. So it's not like every wiring project at the Holler. Click, is it off? No. Click, is it off? No. Click, yeah, that's the way it goes. Hey, do we have another thermostat we can show and tell? We saved them. We'll put that right there just so you feel at home in this live stream. Why was I not informed you were doing a live stream? You were informed. If you are up to date on my podcast, you would totally know. If you were paying attention to Facebook or MeWe, you would totally know. It's Thursday. We're doing the live stream.
Someone's a slacker.
Where are the thermostats? Well, there's 2 right behind me, dude. Some of you wonder what the fate of the thermostats will be. Like, why didn't I just throw them away? Do you know why?
They'll be back.
They'll be back.
We're not going anywhere.
We're gonna find a way to bring them back into our lives.
I already found a way. I was working on that, and then you told me I had to eat dinner.
Do you know what he's like when he's hangry? Kind of like this. He's still kind of hangry. He might need to eat more dinner. Kind of the whiny tactical redneck tonight. I don't know what that's about. Anyway.
There's still some food over there yet.
Yep.
And it's at least edible. I know, I cooked it.
He cooked dinner tonight. He's cooking dinner tomorrow night. What's for dinner tomorrow night?
I'm still figuring that part out.
He's going to be figuring it out until he starts cooking. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
What are you starting with?
The ground chicken with carrots, probably.
Jenny Cooper wants to send us a shadow box to put them in.
What's a shadow box?
It's like a box that sticks out from the wall. So it's like a frame. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's hungry. So he's starting with what?
Probably the ground or the shredded up chicken stuff and the carrots.
We have shredded up chicken stuff. And there are carrots. He came back from the store with carrots today. That must mean he was already thinking about what he was cooking for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
No? He just randomly really wanted carrots, I guess.
It was one of the few things that looked decent in the store.
Yeah. Hat says you need thermostats because it's going to be much hotter in your living room when we're cooking in the kitchen with the wall gone. That's a good point. Of course, the thermostats don't control my air conditioner because it's the Holler house. Happy Quarantino, Hollerinos. Yes, thank you. Hat says, how much cooler the kitchen will be. Yes, and I have a window unit for the kitchen that goes in too, so I just haven't put it in yet. Because the ground was frozen a week ago.
Need the flat top back up and running.
Flat top.
The outside kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's also the stove that needs to come up here. The one that I can on.
So I guess it's start that and not finish it.
Don't start that and not finish. What are you finishing tomorrow, Tactical?
I don't know.
How about the goat fence so we can finish planting the garden?
Nighthawk, are you helping me with the goat fence tomorrow?
I guess I am.
Woo! That means I can get my seeds in. Otherwise, I'm going to start jury rigging something and they're going to get pissed off at me. Because every time I plant something, the chickens come in and they eat the seeds out of the garden because they can get in the garden.
No,
So
solve that problem.
You have to clarify between goat fence or the gate we just put in.
No, I want the fencing all along the garden so the chickens can't get in it. That's goat fence, right? Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah.
How are the chickens going to get in order to get that gate up? And you lock the gate.
They'll go under it.
I don't know. We'll fix that.
You realize there's another gate that goes in between the goat pasture and the garden that they'll be able to go under.
We might have to put chicken wire on it so they can't go. The slats are like that. They can get through that.
Why can't we just put the chicken wire on the gate we just installed today?
My goal is chickens out, but you realize we need the goat fence done by the workshop or they're going to be getting up in people's tents.
That's good. People like goats.
Goats or the chickens?
The goats.
Minor details.
People like goats.
Anyway, so you're gonna finish the goat fence tomorrow?
There's no way that goat fence is getting finished tomorrow.
Why not?
That's at least several days worth of work.
Fencing is no fun. Why is it several days worth of work? I thought we just had one run to do.
1, 2, 3,
Ish.
4.
I mean,
5
technically
runs.
it's 1, 2 runs, but there's a couple breaks in between them.
No, there's 5 runs, and one of them has 1, 2, 3, 4 breaks in it.
That's a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
I mean 5 runs. There's 2 runs going around that.
See, they argue like this all the time. New stove. No, I have a propane oven and stove that I can put in outside, so that in the summer when I oven something up, it's not heating the inside of the house. It's just cooking outside, and more importantly, it has a stovetop. And I'm a canner, so this means that I can can outside instead of inside.
Wait a minute.
That'll be awesome.
Wait a minute. That means you need
Brian
gas
says
fence.
get her done. Hey, Brian just volunteered to help come put the goat fence in.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he just said get her done. That must mean he's coming out, like, right, Brian?
All right. It's right up there for you. Have at it. Call me if you need help.
Okay, what about you guys? What walls have you been tearing down this year? Any walls at all? You can write them in chat. We're probably a little laggy from where you're chatting and where I'm talking, so. You know what I want to finish on Saturday?
Cabbage. Oh,
Cabbage.
Sauerkraut?
Yeah, that.
We're making sauerkraut?
No, that's before Saturday. We're making sauerkraut for the workshop. I made sauerkraut for the workshop and then y'all ate it. So I'm going to make some more sauerkraut for the workshap.
It wasn't properly labeled. What can I say?
You know what? The workshop was delayed, so I couldn't serve it in April anyway. So that's fine.
Yeah, it wasn't properly labeled.
Jenny's working on breaking through important imposter syndrome. That's good. Imposter syndrome is not a good one. How are you doing that, Jenny?
What's that?
Well, that's when you feel like an imposter in something that you're doing, even though you're really good at it. Like, it's a self-perception issue. We're talking about psychological walls, too.
I don't understand.
Well, let's say that you had been hired to be an electrician.
Okay.
And you went in to do your work, and you were like trained to be an electrician, but then when you got there, you didn't feel like you were really a professional electrician.
Oh.
That's imposter syndrome, because you feel like an imposter.
Okay.
Yep.
Better example would be that you felt like you were an imposter at drinking beer.
I don't feel like that.
That's not a better
That's
example.
That's why you don't have the imposter syndrome.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She's taking a day at a time, thinking through what I'm doing and making sure I feel prepared. Yep, it's good to be prepared when you need to run in to do things. I totally know how you feel, Jenny, because I do corporate facilitation and I'm good at it. And almost always before each one, I go through this whole, what if it doesn't work this time? So it's kind of funny. And I've learned some strategies, like I'll call and talk through my agenda with a friend just to make sure it sounds like I'm not missing anything. I'll, talk about the people because I verbally process. So that really helps me a lot. I don't know if it'll help you. Sometimes all the prep doesn't feel like it's enough. I often end up places where I'm like, I wish I had one more week. Hats is facing my own mistakes. That's a hard one. Yep. Yeah. Looking at our mistakes isn't easy, but that's the only way we can go back and do something about them, which is unfortunate. I had to hang. So this is how I learned to do drywall. I hung it on the ceiling in Portland. And then I realized I needed to access the plumbing that was under that drywall. I hadn't mudded yet. Pulled it back down. Dealt with the plumbing. Put it back up. Second time. Now, mind you, hanging drywall involved in getting friends because you have to have somebody hold the drywall up. So we're standing around with our heads up against the ceiling doing this to hang it, right? We didn't have a drywall lift. So then got further into the remodel, realized, oh, the wiring's up there. Brought the drywall back down, dealt with the wiring, put the drywall back up. As I got to thinking about it, insulation on interior walls helps dampen sound, and I don't like sound transfer from room to room. Brought the drywall down, hung insulation, even more fun, and put it back up. And that's how I learned that we all make mistakes, and then you just have to deal with it. I've also learned that when you have a ceiling open, do everything you possibly can while it's open before you put the drywall on. But I had to learn that the hard way. Yeah. And by the way, after drywall's been hung like 5 times, yeah, there's lots of screw holes. So then the mudding was a nightmare. You
didn't learn how to hang drywall on the ceiling by yourself?
What do you mean? Well, yeah, I did the last time I used the lift because nobody wanted to help me anymore.
Even without a lift?
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm not going to believe you because I've seen you hang drywall.
Get yourself a couple 2x4s.
Oh, yeah, I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
A lift is easier. You just go.
Make like a T.
Yeah.
And then just rest it on there.
Yeah. You have to get it up. Yeah, no, the lift is better. See, your method, it's $11 a day to rent a lift.
Plus, you got to go pick it up, bring it back.
I lived in the city. I'll tell you what, if I ever have to hang a ceiling down, I'm going to rent. I'm renting a lift. I'm not dealing with T's and this.
Don't work, Brad. I've done it before.
I know. You did it at my duplex.
I've never had to hang drywall on the ceiling, but if I ever do, I'm getting a lift.
So, guys,
just fun.
I've come to the conclusion that as a result of this wall coming out, I need to drywall this room instead of this painted wood paneling. Not happening before the workshop. Not happening this year. Black. You know what, though? Do you know who's going to help me do that project? Neither one of these two.
I was going to say.
They're not doing it.
Voting this.
No, my plan is this. Maybe they help me take the paneling out if they want to, and we carefully remove molding. And then I'm hiring somebody who actually likes to do drywall, or at least likes making the money they get paid when they do drywall, because I have never seen two such sorry faces as these two when they've hung any drywall anywhere between base camp or my little bathroom, which totally got nuked as part of the plumbing problem. They're extra scales of grumpy when they have to do drywall. So they're not touching my drywall again. I don't want to live with that for 2 weeks while they hang it. Because then they get pissed off and go for a walk. No, I'm hiring that done. You succeeded. That was a good manipulation.
That was totally my end goal.
Yep. Hat says, I've let plants die rather than face the fact that I let them wilt. Well, it's good that you know that about yourself.
Oh, don't feel too bad. I had some die too, but it was because I was gone for the weekend. I didn't get any water.
Miles said $11 is worth the lift. Yes, it's probably more now. I'm quoting that was probably 18 years ago that I had that price. I've been here 14.
1952.
So 16 years ago, yeah.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And it was in Portland, Oregon, in the city where you could just run to Home Depot and rent a lift, and then yeah, it was great. And it was just like you put the drywall, all you had to do was get it up on the lift, and then you cranked it, and it was like, yeah, it's awesome. Ken says, I don't need a lift. I have neighbors. I have tall neighbors, too. He's like a giant tall lift.
Ken's referring to himself, not you.
Why am I going to need a new whiteboard?
What whiteboard?
We do need to move the whiteboard from down there to base camp, but that's a different story. For the workshop.
That whiteboard?
The big one.
Yeah. See, they're whining. I don't know why that's such a big deal. See, if you put the table saw away and get that chimney back together so there's not stuff everywhere, we can just pull it straight out.
Just.
Yeah. And he needs to put his plumbing parts away.
And then we have to clean up everything behind the whiteboard.
Actually, you don't. There's a bed back there. Your bed is in the way.
All the way.
It's pretty much all the way.
Just put that chimney back together.
Yeah, I don't have a whiteboard in my living room. I just use post-it notes that stick. But hey, check this out. Anybody who's been here recently has seen that there was a whole bunch of like post-it thingies from a facilitation I did with words on them so I could remember and get my write-up done. My write-up's done.
When she says post-it thingy, she's talking about sheets of paper that were like, you know, really wide and really tall.
And
she
wallpapered
the whole wall with them.
They had words on them. It's the best way to do it when you're facilitating because then you can take them home. And I was working on their website and some content and I just needed to be looking at it. And then my chair was over there and they were over there. And today I got it all into a document. So they're off the wall. And now I can hang my art again.
You know, when you say post-it notes, most people think like a piece of paper like that big.
No. Post-it pads.
2.5 by 3.5 feet.
Yeah. Brian, I always have more projects. Yeah, see, Jenny knows what I'm talking about because she's a teacher. She's like, yes, I love those. Yes, you do. It was great. I was doing the meeting and I always use them. Like to me, it's worth it. They're expensive. It's worth the money because you can have them up and look at them in a meeting if you're having a discussion and it reminds you what you said. And I had my little easel thing and I was writing on it and I ripped off the first one and stuck it to the wall. And one of the people in the meeting went, oh, that's awesome. And I was like, yeah, I love them. I should buy stock in 3M. I really should. Of course, other people probably thought that too because of the masks. Okay, so I think we've talked tearing walls down to death. I hope you guys are looking at walls that you can tear down because we all have them and a lot of them are just perception. Like my perception that I don't have time to do stuff, sometimes I really don't. Sometimes I'm spending more time worrying about not having the time to do the thing than doing the thing. And it's important, you know, like that's one of the ones that's been my whole life. It's been that way. I will worry and worry and worry about something. And part of it is it's usually something big that I need to get done and I just got to start. And then part of it is I have to start and stick to it. So I think finding strategies around those things as you find them is a great idea. I don't know what other walls I'm going to take on this year. Last year I learned how to mow my own lawn. That was a big one.
I would want to mow.
Yeah, I got to mow today. It took me 45 minutes to mow the back 40.
You forgot my lawn.
It wasn't on the list today.
Where's this list?
Yeah.
I am making some additions. But no, I, as far as walls, I mean, if you're looking at it and you don't know how to take it head on, try looking at how you can take it on sideways and just kind of needle away at it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes we don't see our own walls and then our friends do, and it's hard to hear that message from them.
Huh?
Yeah, and then they say something, and you know, people do this to me too. And then, like for me, I have to think on it. And then I'm like, well, maybe they're right. Then it's like, how do I deal with it? So a little bit at a time is a great idea. Brian suggests that the two of you become less negative.
Brian will have a side conversation later.
Are you guys in a 3-way relationship? No. Yeah, that's not what this channel's about. No, we're not even going to go there. Negative. So, anyway, guys, thanks for joining the live stream. I think we're wrapping it up. we're going to start doing these every other week. We were doing them weekly in April. So next week we won't do it, but we will do them the week after. And we will see you then, unless you see me recording my podcast between them. Have a great evening.